This young lady right there.
So in Iowa, 76% of kids under the age of 6 have all available parents in the workforce, meaning that what they need to keep their jobs is affordable and accessible childcare. Yet in Iowa, infant care costs about $8,500 a year, and for a 4-year-old child, that's about $7,300 a year. So if you're thinking about a full-time minimum wage worker, that's about half of your yearly income for one child for child care alone, and that's not affordable. And despite these high costs, child care providers, those who watch over our youngest citizens, often lived in poverty, and they can't even afford child care themselves. But yet for child care providers to offer their employees higher wages, that would fall back onto the families, making it more unaffordable. So what can you do as president to make child care more affordable for families so they can keep their jobs and that providers don't have to live in poverty?
Wow, that's such a great question because, you know, the numbers she quoted are pretty amazing, aren't they? Over $8,000 a year to take care of an infant, and in lots of states, it costs more to provide child care for infants and babies and toddlers than it does to pay tuition to go to college. And for most working parents, that is just absolutely beyond the reach. So here's what I want to do. Number one, I think there has to be paid family leave so that young parents and others as well, if you have your own illness or if you're taking care of an older relative with Alzheimer's or some other condition, but particularly for young parents, you get paid leave. Right now we have, it was the first bill my husband signed, we have family and medical leave, but it's not paid. So if you have enough money coming in, you can afford to take it. But if you don't, you can't. You know, more than 200 million times it's been taken since it came into effect. So a lot of people have benefited. But unless we have paid leave, low income young workers are not going to get it. So that's the first thing. And there are a number of ways of doing it. And I think we can do it in an affordable way that doesn't burden small business. California has had a form of paid family leave for a number of years, and everything I've investigated about it shows that it is workable. Secondly, we've got to get the costs of quality child care down, and that requires more subsidies from the government because you make a really important point. I met with a group of child care workers, and many of them love what they do. They love taking care of kids, but they're making minimum wage, or maybe $8.50 or at the most $9 an hour. It's not sustainable, which is why a lot of them leave and go to work for fast food places or something else where they can make more. There is nothing more important than caring for children. That is the number one job of any society, and it's something that we have to help do a better job supporting families. And so I think we've got to do more to put more resources into the support for families to be able to afford child care. And I want to say a final word about this. You know, this is not just because it's a big pressure on families. It really matters what happens in the first 5 years of life. You know, 80% of your brain is physically formed when you're 3 years old. You know, we do a lot to try to figure out how to get education to work better, but a lot of our kids enter kindergarten behind. And then we turn to teachers and we kind of scapegoat teachers. We say, okay, you go close the achievement gap. These kids are behind, you go fix it. Well, part of the reason they're behind is because they haven't had what they needed the first 5 years of their lives. And we've got to recognize that. I want to say just, you know, I have this new granddaughter who is just the light of our life. And, you know, we read, talk, and sing to her all the time. I've kidded people and said, you know, her first full sentence, she's starting to say words, but her first full sentence is going to be enough with the reading, talking, and singing. I've heard enough of it. But we do it because we love to do it. We also do it because the brain research shows it builds her brain. Now, I think every child should have the potential to be able to experience that. But if you're working, a single mom or two hard-working parents, it's pretty hard to find that time. And it's pretty hard to find people who will love and take care of your child the same way you would and give that child the support that child needs. So we need to do this because it's the right thing to do, and we need to do it because we got to better prepare for the workforce. There's a Nobel Prize winning economist. Any of you are interested in this? He's at the University of Chicago. His name is Dr. James Heckman, and he's done all this research. And he says, if you ask what's the single best investment any country can make to grow jobs and grow the economy, the answer is early childhood education. And the fact is, I'm gonna try to persuade the Congress and work with state legislatures and others to help us have a program that really will at least start with disadvantaged kids, kids whose parents are working really hard, low wage jobs and the like. But I'll tell you who is listening to this man, Dr. Heckman, and that's the Chinese government, because they've looked at the research and they intend to win this global competition we're in. I intend for us to win it and do everything we can to make sure that happens. And so they're starting an early childhood program because they've looked at it and they still have hundreds of millions of really poor people, and they want to get them up and going so they can be, part of a growing economy. So I care a lot about this issue because I know it would help so many families. So thank you for raising it.